Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. So today I have a video for you telling you what products you are using wrong. Now, no, I don't mean that. It's a Gatchy Diesel. These are products that you could be using better within your makeup routine according to questions I receive and things I see online. Let's just get straight into it. We're gonna start with one which I have said a few times on this channel before, but not everyone watches all my videos, and it's still a question I get asked a lot. If you have thick brows or even really light brows where you don't have too many hairs and they just fall straight down, let's talk about brow gels and how you're using them in your eyebrows. I'm using a brow soap because my eyebrows are so thick and heavy that I just want to get them, you know, in place, and that's what works for me. But this is how you do it for everyone, no matter what your brows are like. Step one, we're gonna comb our brows kind of into place, but just make sure they're brushed up. Second step, we're gonna take your brow gel with whatever wand it is, and we're just gonna brush through and up, going from root to tip. Now, coming up is the key part if you want your brows to stay up all day. We're basically gonna back comb our brows right to the root. I wanna feel it on my skin. I wanna feel the brush grazing across my skin underneath that brow till our brows look something like this. Now, depending on how quick your brow product dries, go right back in there and brush up again, like we did at first step. Now the product, whatever brow product you have, is completely coating your brow, root to tip, and no excuses. Same brush, and we're gonna roll through and up. So we're rolling from root to tip. Now we can brush them into the shape we want. I like to get my scar out here. And that's it, done, done, done. So we're gonna go back again against the hairs, brushing up, roll through, and brush into place. And now we can apply whatever brow product we're using. If you're using powder, pen, pencil, what's the other one? That's it really, pomade. Let's move on to the next. We are gonna look at liquid eyeshadow. This is a bit of a tricky one for some people. Most of the issues I see with liquid eyeshadows is people are unsure how to blend them, how to use them. Do you use an eyeshadow primer with them? What do you do? What's the situation? Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna put eyeshadow primer, but a very, very small layer. Do you necessarily need eyeshadow primer? You absolutely do not, especially if they tend to be more silicone or more slippery. My one's very sticky, so I like to use that under whatever I put on my eyelids. Liquid eyeshadows as well tend to dry out super quick, so a lot of the time they make a good eyeshadow primer themselves. I do have a very dry patch on my eye. Oh, my voice went funny there. So please do ignore that. Okay. Liquid eyeshadow, we are using the Lisa Eldridge liquid eyeshadows. And here's how, there's kind of an order to it, right? So I'm gonna put some on my eyelid, and I'm not gonna be like crazy detailed about where I'm putting it, how much I'm gonna use, etc. I'm just gonna make sure I have like the basic eyelid shape down. I'm not even being that like tidy through the socket. Okay, now here's where we blend. Oh my God, my brushes. Before it dries down, we're gonna blend it. You might see some of the color on the lid fade slightly, and that's fine because we can go back over once we have blended. And I'm gonna do little strokes at a time. This is actually Lisa Eldridge brush, and you can see it's kind of flat on the side, but it's also a blending brush. So I can use that flatter edge to do some really precise blending. We don't want to go crazy and start blending it out everywhere. We can always add powder to this if we want to like bring it out a little bit more. And to bring that eyeshadow outwards, I'm literally starting at the socket and I'm flicking in the direction I want it to go in and then softening up that little flick. Now, anywhere where the eyeshadows like come away, maybe it's a little bit patchy, we just go back in, you see like on the corner there, and tap and build up that liquid eyeshadow. I prefer tapping because some liquid eyeshadows, not this one, but a lot of maybe more affordable ones, tend to be quite patchy, like you'll try and go back on top and it will almost pick up the color and take it completely off, which we don't want really. Now we have just a really quick liquid eyeshadow smoky eye. Easy, easy. So just on some concealer under my eye. When it comes to using the liquid eyeshadow under your eyes, here's what we want to do. We want to be quick. We want to be one step ahead of the game. So I'm gonna take, I need to clean my brushes. I don't want to. We'll take a small little domed fluffy brush and okay, so quick and steady. What we're gonna do, a little bit at a time, just here, before it dries out, we're just gonna drag it across. Keep going back to this beginning bit and taking from there, and then gently underneath, just start to blend out that color. Again, we can always go back on top if we get a bit patchiness, whatever. So we still get that nice kind of like blended out gradient. Next up, something you could be using every single day that you could be using a little bit better in your makeup routine is bronzer. Now, here's the thing with bronzer. I believe I spoke about before where I find a lot of people go in with a huge brush, big powder brush, and just do this across the whole face, which is cute, but now we kind of incorporate contour into our routine. And this is, I mean, even if you don't incorporate contour, this is still a good tip for you. Bronzer shouldn't necessarily go over the whole face like crazy. Let's think about bronzer haloing a contour, right? So let's use this contour from Pink Honey as an example. So contour is gonna go, you know, just where we want it, just where we want to have that natural face shadow. Okay, so contour on, very subtle. I don't want it to be too much happening. Bronzer. Now, as I said earlier, we want bronzer to almost halo the contour, but then we don't want it too much like everywhere being crazy. So I'm gonna take my brush, even if it's a big powder brush, and just tap the edge off the brush into my bronzer. I haven't actually used this bronzer, so I hope the shade's okay. And then I'm gonna just wipe gently over the contour and just slightly above it too. And then same here. So I'm going where our contour is, but I'm also going slightly over. So say our contour stopped here, I'm going slightly over that as well. I quite like going over my contour with bronzer, but then also sometimes I'll do my contour after my bronzer. It depends how strong I want it that day, you know? And I can take my bronzer a little bit more on the cheeks. Now, how is this different to the way a lot of people do it? Let me grab a quick clean brush and show you. A lot of people dip their brush into their bronzer and then I've seen them do this. But a lot of the time, when you move a brush across the face like this really quickly, you're only hitting the high points of your face. And ideally, you can do bronze on the high points of your face, but ideally you want it to get also the hollows of your face as well, but you're gonna completely miss them if you're just doing this, you know? And I've seen people doing this with their brush and it's a little bit too much. So be delicate with your bronzer, apply it strategically and in harmony, in unison with your contour. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about powder puffs. Powder puffs have been extremely popular over the last, year on TikTok, right? They've been popular always, but there's a very, this habit of people picking up loads and loads of powder from the thing and then just going straight into their face and tapping it on and just really tapping. There's a few things about powder puffs. They're a little bit more complex than they seem in terms of you can use them better than just tapping on the face. Here's what I like to see, right? This is a powder puff. These are my favorites. These are from Caddy Cosmetics. I always talk about them, but they have these little tiny ones. And then there's also a medium one that goes in between. So I use these for right under my eyes. And then this bigger one, sometimes I use it for foundation. Sometimes I use it for just powder over the whole face, but I'm gonna show you with a bigger one because this tends to be the more popular size overall. So we have a powder puff here. I have 2 fingers in the powder puff. There's a few different ways to use it. If I just want to apply product over the whole face, I can use the 2 fingers. Now, if I want something more concentrated and say I want to get up into these corners and I want a heavier finish, I'm only going to put 1 finger in and then with my thumb and this finger, I'm going to wrap it around this finger. This way we have more density, like we've gone from like a big puffy brush to a more dense brush. And I'm gonna make sure it's really tight and my finger is almost pushing this here, but there's still some sponginess in between, you see what I mean? So then we can get right in this corner and tap down like this. And if you're done with that corner, you can literally just spin it around and you can literally do the same on this side as well. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take a loose powder. I can't find my Ciate one. I moved my room around and there's a big basket. I do this really lazy thing, right? When I'm cleaning my desk after I finish filming, I get these baskets I found on Amazon and I just pick up all the makeup and put it in a basket. Okay, so I'm going into my powder. So you'll see a load of people taking powder and then just going straight onto their face like this. Here's where we should calm down for 1 second. We need to tap off excess onto the back of our hands. Like, so look how much of that powder's coming off. This would give us a really dusty, horrible look. We still want to be able to push product into, we can come back to that in a minute. But when we're doing it, we still want it to look natural and pressed in. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that thing where I pinch it round. I'm gonna tap, but I'm almost rolling this off my face when I lift up. Tap and roll, tap and roll. I'm starting here, and as the product gets less, I'm gonna take it up to my eyes around there. This isn't baking. I'm going back into here. I'm going to tap and roll, tap and roll, tap and roll. And around the eyes, you can even do like this kind of motion, but on a smaller scale like this. This is gonna stop excess excess powder. People like to believe that powder around the eyes is gonna stop creasing, and a lot of the time it doesn't for a lot of us. So just a light layer is good to start with. I'm gonna take the other clean side off that powder puff and wrap it round again my finger, but this time I'm just gonna gently tap over everywhere I put any powder and just make sure that it isn't sitting on the surface of my skin. So we're powdered, but it doesn't look heavy or cakey. This is also a beautiful way to use a powder puff with concealer as well. So you can take a smaller, like the small ones like this, and literally tap and roll with your concealer. It looks really natural, looks really beautiful. Okay, so those are a few products that I think can be used a little bit better when it comes to our makeup routines. Let me know if there's anything you struggle with using down below. I would love to know if there's something you've bought where you're like, actually, I don't really know how to use this in the best way. Maybe I can help. Thank you so much for joining me. Consider subscribing, and I will see you very, very soon.